Hey guys, FreeMarket9s here, and today we are talking about none other than shiny Pokemon. Now that should come as no surprise to any of you. If it does, then obviously you are new here. But one of the reasons that I do love them so much is the fact that each and every person has their own thoughts and opinions on every single one of them. Which basically means while yes, there are a ton of shiny Pokemon that I completely love,
there are also a bunch that he hates, many of which I happen to really like, which is why today, we thought it'd be fun to show off some of the shiny Pokemon that we personally disagree on, talk about why we feel the way we do, and attempt to make them better. I say attempt because, let's face it, these shinies are amazing, and if you think otherwise, then your opinion's complete bullshit.
Well, okay, I think it's also important to note here that yes, it was hard to find 10 shiny Pokemon that we completely disagreed on, so take these opinions lightly and know that just because we say one's bad doesn't mean that it is. Every single shiny Pokemon can have just as much value as you want it to.
Actually, only the really good ones have value. But yeah, with all that being said, let's finally get into this.
Okay, so right off the bat, we are starting with one that I've always kind of been on the fence about, and that is none other than the bright yellow shiny Azumarill. Now, personally speaking, I really try not to hate all shinies of a specific color because, honestly, let's face it, while some Pokemon can totally rock the golden yellow look, others just completely look rushed or unfinished. That being said, the main reason that I don't like shiny Azumarill so much is the fact that Marill's shiny is 1,000 times better than it. And being their main color is so close together, I don't understand how the color change wasn't the same. If shiny Azumarill actually looked like this, it would completely blow my mind. But if for some reason it couldn't keep that same color green, I would have much preferred a change to purple instead of yellow. You cannot tell me that this wouldn't have been amazing.
Actually, at least in this case, I completely disagree in the idea that it makes it feel rushed. In fact, the shade of yellow used on Azumarill, mixed with it being a drastic change from its pre-evolution, makes it stand out really nicely. Part of what makes a shiny so special too, is the memories you have of them. I, for example, won a golden Azumarill in the VGC tournament a few years back, so shiny Azumarill really stands out for me. Though I do agree, the original shiny colors of Marill probably would suit it as well.
Now for this next one, I have no trouble trash talking this shiny because it really freaking bugs me. It is none other than the really disappointing shiny Swadloon. Why could it not keep along the same shiny path as shiny Sewaddle? That shiny is amazing, and I have no doubt in my mind that shiny Swadloon would have looked just as good.
Well, Dallas, I personally like the change of the face becoming white. A change I thought was one of your favourites on a shiny, might I add. And usually I don't think orange and white go well together, but in this case with the orange eyes I do think it looks quite nice, even if it does look kind of dead. The colours together also give off a really nice autumn vibe.
Alex, if they wanted to go with fall colors, why not take a more vibrant approach like this? I mean, really, compare the two. One reminds me of my favorite season, and the other one looks like it's on its freaking deathbed. I don't know, I have no idea what happened between evolutions, but if the shiny did have this red and looked this different, then I actually might have been happy with the two that I found. It's a great Pokemon, but as it is right now, not a great shiny. Up next is a legendary Pokemon that I really freaking love, but I have a hard time liking its shiny version simply because it doesn't change enough for me and I feel like it deserves something better than this. And that is shiny Jirachi. I see so much potential when I look at this Pokemon. The star on its head is so extremely recognizable that I feel like it should definitely change, but of course, it doesn't. So really, at the end of the day, if they just did that, this shiny would be a million times better. That being said, give me your thoughts on this one, Alex.
Yes, it is a very simple change, but personally I think it stands out enough to be noticeable. The change to red also makes a lot of sense, since the strips on Jirachi represent Tanabatas, which are often read as a reference to not only the Japanese flag, but also the sun. Yes, I know Gen 3 shiny colours were palette swaps, so this colour wasn't intentional, but I still think it works more than it doesn't.
Okay, yes, if you put it that way, of course it makes more sense when you talk about Japanese culture. But even keeping those tassels red, I really feel like that star needs to change in order to make this an actually good shiny. If we could do that and get something that looks like this, then consider all of my wishes granted. Alright, so this next one is another extremely amazing Pokemon with an extremely lackluster shiny, especially after Generation 6 got a hold of it. Yup, you guessed it, it's Electivire. Now I do believe that this shiny is right in line with shiny Electabuzz, which normally is a shiny change that I really like, obviously. I talked about it already in this video. But when I really start to think about all of the possibilities there could be for this shiny, that's when I start to have issues. Before I show those ones off, Alex, you want to defend this one?
This shiny does actually change a bit more than some people give credit for, so I'm a bit surprised that you don't like it. The changes from red to blue I think are enough for me and most of the same people to like. And the change from yellow to orange I also think works quite well, not to mention that orange and blue go well together, which makes the colour suit it even more.
Fair enough there, I don't completely disagree with you. In fact, like I said, I don't hate this thing. I just expect so much more when I see a freaking monster like this one. I don't think the shiny's intimidating enough. Here is what I would want. Imagine if this Pokemon lost all of the body color completely. Then instead of blue accents, we went with something like electric purple, or even if we did keep the blue, we just made it a little brighter. This thing would not only look amazing, it would scare the crap out of me. Also, for some reason, I really like the color purple on electric type, so if you just went completely purple with a little lime green accents, I would completely love that too. All in all, just another missed opportunity. Next up is a terrible shiny from the 5th generation, and that is Shiny Crustle. Trying to think of what I can say here that isn't too mean. It's a little bit better than its pre-evolution shiny, but its pre-evolution shiny barely changes, so like, that's not saying much. Normally, I'm one of the people that actually likes green shinies, but for real, I just don't think it works here.
I completely disagree with the green being boring. I think this is one of the few times where this shade of green actually works really well. It gives off this radioactive vibe, which in this case actually really suits the Pokemon, and doesn't look nasty looking like on other green shinies that just look bad. For example, Ursaring and Stantler.
Okay, first of all, do not talk smack about my boy Ursaring. Second, I'm all for nuclear shinies. I'm a huge fan of them usually, but here, I don't know if it's just the contrast with the sand, but it just doesn't feel right to me. And maybe I'm just completely biased towards shinies like this, but I think it would look so much better in the design that I did. Blue instead of green and a much darker gray to contrast that. Oh my gosh, I think this looks gorgeous. I honestly feel like even if you are a huge fan of Shiny Crustle, you can't deny the fact that this would also be an amazing shiny for it. Next up is one of the legendary mascots for Pokemon Sun and Moon, both of which I think have awful shiny forms. Thankfully, we were able to agree on one of them being really bad, but the one we didn't agree on and Alex actually likes is Shiny Lunala. I recently found out that so many people buy into this shiny and say that it actually works based on the idea that it looks like a blood moon. This is what a blood moon looks like. This is Shiny Lunala. Maybe I'm just being blind, but do these look at all the same to you? Because to me, Shiny Lunala looks more like blood than it does an actual blood moon.
Okay, you do have to admit that the blood red does work really well, and not because it looks like a blood moon, but it seems like you're forgetting that Lunala is based on the moon, and a bat after all. But yeah, I will at least agree with you on the fact that Solgaleo shiny kind of sucks.
Honestly, that is perfectly fine. As long as we can agree on that, then I don't mind you actually liking this. That being said, I still do want to show off the shiny versions that I made for this Pokemon because I made them before the shiny was shown to anyone. So before we even knew what the shiny looked like, these are the versions that I made and I totally wish that we got. I even made my own red version for it, so you know I'm not totally against the color red. I just don't like when it looks like it was dunked in a pool full of Kool-Aid. Really, any of these would have been way easier to digest than the one that we got. Now next up, we are talking about Shiny Chestnut, and right off the bat, I do want to say I love Chespin. I even love it shiny, but when I saw Chestnut as a Pokemon, I was extremely disappointed, especially with the shiny form. Can somebody please explain to me why Shiny Greninja gets to keep its shiny black ninja vibe? Shiny Delphox goes right along the lines of a witch, but then we get to Chestnut and it's like, oh, we'll go green and brown. Because that's what a knight looks like, right? No, absolutely not. This is what a knight looks like. This is what the shiny could have been. This is what the shiny could have been. Can you imagine if we got a knight color scheme for the shiny form? Oh my gosh, it would have been right in line, and I actually think that it would change my opinion on the Pokemon itself. I just don't see how it's fair at all.
Well, the colours added are obviously a callback to its previous evolutions, and I think it builds quite well off the shiny versions also, with the continuation of the brown colouring. Honestly, I quite like it, and the green colour also makes it seem more like a grass type than the original colour, which is pretty awesome as well. Your shinies do look good, but again, the real one isn't even bad, and I would say is a bit more realistic than yours.
Yes, okay, I do realize that my shiny versions are out there and it's not really something we would ever see in a main series Pokemon game, but a boy can dream, and this boy is dreaming of a way better shiny than the one they actually gave us. Okay, next up on the list of terrible shinies that for some reason Alex likes is Shiny Bruxish. This poor Pokemon got so much hate when it was first announced, and I gotta be honest, I personally loved it, until I saw it shiny. It's important to keep in mind that from Generation 6 onwards, all shiny Pokemon were hand-picked. No more blaming palettes, no more blaming coding. They were designed to specifically look like this. So thinking about that and understanding that somebody out there in the world said these colors look amazing together and will look better than any other color scheme, it makes me want to throw up.
So I've made it very clear in the past that I'm not a fan of Bruxish, but I don't really know what you're talking about. I think these colours stand out really well, and anyone that finds this shiny is going to notice it immediately. Plus, when I first saw the shiny, I instantly thought of a watermelon, and still do, to be honest. So for those reasons, I do like it.
Although I do agree that this thing will stand out like crazy when you find it, I just can't get past the idea that red is the main color on it. When making shiny Pokemon, you have to be really careful when choosing which colors to contrast. 9 out of 10 times, red looks much better as an accent color than it does a base color. This shiny is just too much at once here. If I could choose the shiny colors, it would be one of these. Still very vibrant, still so much different from the original, but not quite as much of a sensory overload that we got in the original design. Now this is another one of those shiny Pokemon that I really want to like, but there's just a few things getting in the way of that. And I'll be completely transparent here, one of those things is strictly personal. I straight up hunted in a shiny Hawlucha mask that I made hoping to find shiny Hawlucha, and instead found 3 of these stupid things. But not only that, I only caught 2 of them. 1 of them I failed. But aside from all of that, I just don't think that the colors are perfect. I feel like I understand what it's trying to do, and it frustrates me more than anything knowing this is just a few shades off from an actually amazing shiny. Alex, take it away. Change my mind.
Well, for starters, the brown on it makes it look like a bongo.
I guess you're right. It kind of looks like a bongo, yeah.
And also the green on the wings. It looks great in contrast to the brown bongo.
What the heck are you doing? What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. You don't make any sense.
It's a good shiny, alright, and there's pretty much nothing you can say that will make me change my mind.
I know that Alex made amazing points here, but yeah, this is what I think would look good. I guess we just move on from this. Is that fine with you? Can we go on to the next one?
Sure.
And last but certainly not least, actually, this time it is, because this is my least favorite shiny on all of this list. And that is none other than shiny Amoonguss. Whether it's Amoonguss or Foonguss, I really don't care, they go hand in hand. Both of these shinies are completely awful for so many reasons.
But I really don't understand why. So personally for me, I do like shiny Fungus quite a bit, as it was the second ever shiny I found at full odds. And in terms of the colour, the change from red to blue is classic. Like, Voltorb and Electrode have basically the same shinies, and you're not complaining about those. And what about the idea that they could be a nod to Great Balls? What's there not to like? Plus, you're always going on about how you'd improve a shiny by making it blue, whereas in this case, you're acting like they ruined it.
Okay, listen, my hate for these shinies is so much deeper than all of that I don't even think you're ready for it. I hate these shinies, not just because of the color change. Yes, Voltorb and Electrode are the same, but not only did they do it first, but they did it way better. I hate these shinies, not just because they could look way cooler. You're telling me you wouldn't like it better if they looked like this? A nod towards an Ultra Ball, maybe? But I hate these shinies mainly because when you encounter these Pokemon, which if you're a shiny hunter, you definitely will find one because they're basically everywhere, so now that I think of it, yeah, I'm not surprised you found one. But when they do appear, you can't even freaking tell that they're shiny because of the camera angle in the games. And if you don't want to take my word for it, just Google it. So many people have failed this thing. How hard would it have been to just change the black borders to blue? Or even go all out with a poison theme and do something crazy like this? At the end of the day, you can't take all of this into consideration and still tell me that the original shiny for this thing is good.
Actually, I can. It's a pretty good shiny.
Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this edition of my videos. I hope you enjoyed this little shiny Pokemon debate. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not already, definitely subscribe to the channel. And once again, huge thanks to TheAuraGuardian for coming back on the channel 2 years after our original collab.
Thanks a lot for having me back on, Dallas. Hopefully you guys found it fun to see 2 different perspectives of the same shiny. And if you want to see more of Dallas and I disagreeing on stuff, we did the opposite video over on my channel, going through 10 shinies that this time Dallas does like, but I on the other hand think they kind of suck.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. More videos coming very soon, but until next time, this is Supreme Arcanine signing out. See you guys later.